Welcome, everyone, to another episode of AIME's Grow and Get It. I'm Tom Allis, President of Growth with AIME. Today, I get the honor and privilege to sit down. We didn't even know we were twinning today, by the way. Guess it's Black Friday. I normally it's Red Friday for our veterans, but we're sporting black. But I get the honor and privilege to sit with Samantha Shelton, broker owner of Align Lending out of Michigan. Very positive member within our community. Somebody to me I've been watching ever since the time happened where she opened her brokerage, on watching her build piece by piece by piece and making impactful relationships, not only in her community, but nationwide, right? I mean, to me, I've watched a lot of the growth that you're doing and seeing, we chatted about it briefly here before we kicked this off, but, execution, right? You're executing on the things that for a lot of people, as we know, the mortgage industry is a little down right now. It's going to change. So, you're doing things that my goal in having you here today is not only to spread some hope and positivity, but to kind of share a little bit, like what's going on behind the scenes, what's helping you achieve the growth that you're doing, dominating your local market, hiring team members, people that want to align. I get to throw you a little idea that want to align with you, right? Because ball of positive energy. I know on a side note, I think your husband even had some health issues for a while. You stepped up as a team member, even for him, from to like, how do I support my family in this situation, or how do I help my real estate partners? So Samantha, thank you for being here and welcome to our Grow and Get It series.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
So, one of the things that we want to cover first is just, what tips do you have for brokers that want to start strong out of the gate? Because you obviously you created your company. You started, when did you start? When did Align Lending launch?
Yeah. So in September of 21, I got my broker's license, but we didn't actually start originating until January of 22. So it's really just been a year.
Just had your 1 year anniversary.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Heck yeah. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Starting out brand new. If you don't mind sharing, it doesn't have to be detailed numbers. What did you accomplish in your first year?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when I started, it was just me, right? I had great mentors. Worked for Mark Summers. It was awesome. He showed me a lot of great tools and resources that I could use. So when I started, it was just me. And before I knew it, I had people reaching out to me like, "How are you doing this? Like, you were a stay-at-home mom. Like, how are you writing loans and like making money, but I still see you with your kids?" Because I feel like it's important to be authentic. My Facebook is me. You're going to get me for who I am. You're going to see my kids and you're also going to see my business. And so that first year, it kind of just snowballed. I took some people who were also stay-at-home moms, and they're also now producing LOs. And then I had other LOs that were reaching out, like, how do I join you? How do we make this happen? And a lot of that is behind, for any new LO or even an LO that's been in the game, is, developing a plan. That's the biggest piece, is developing the plan and executing on the plan that you make. So building those relationships is super key. The first year, that's all we did is focus on building relationships and networking. And not just networking with agents, right? You want to sit with your vendors, your insurance, your title, your inspectors, the people that will talk positively about you within that community. And so that's kind of our first year, what we really strive to do, because we know that your brand speaks very loudly of who you are, even when you aren't speaking. So it's important to build your brand. So that's
100%.
really
I love it. So I want to dive in just a tad bit deeper on the plan, right? Because I think a lot of people, especially in an industry that has, I'll say, a low barrier of entry. It's like 20 hours of education. And, even for us at AIME, we want to try to continue growing the broker channel, but we want to build it with quality. And a lot of people don't have that plan. Will you tell me, like, what did your plan look like to where there were actionable items to execute on? Like, give us a couple of tips on things for somebody starting out. What should that plan include?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing that we always have, whether you're a seasoned LO or you're brand new, the first thing that we do is you have a list of agents. You don't want to make this list 500 because that's not realistic, right? How are you going to follow up with 500 people? You're going to get mixed up. You really want to focus on, say, 100 agents at a time. And so what we do is we take this, you can use the tools that you have available to you, your new home listing tool, MMI, all of these are resources for you to find agents in your area, right? Because your area is where you are. So being able to speak on, oh, I saw you at Kroger, or, our kids go to the same school. That was important. So you want to make sure that you're calling out to agents. Like for my team, we make at least 75 outbound dials a week to agents, which is highly effective because we are following up with them, at least every other week for the agents that, we're trying to build that relationship with. But before you reach out, right, part of that executing of your plan is you want to perfect your value. What are you bringing to them? You're only going to get a couple minutes with an agent that you don't know and they answer. They're only going to give you a very small piece of time that they're going to hear you out. So you have to catch them quick. So like what content you're sharing with them is important. Do your research before you call them. This is why you have a smaller list, because you want to look at their Facebook, look at their LinkedIn, like what are they involved in? Do they, specifically like to do work with first-time home buyers or veterans?
Right.
These are the homework pieces that you should be doing, because the content you share, you want to provide that value. And then obviously, how do you set yourself apart? That's important. For us, we attend open houses. We like to go, and that agent, you go, and we just want you to worry about selling the house. We bring everything else. We bring the snacks, the co-branded marketing. We make, flyers that we share on Facebook. Our whole team also shares the open houses for other people, because my sphere is different than, say, someone on my team's sphere of influence. So just
Yes.
getting those open houses in front of agents that they might know that might be interested and have a buyer for that home. So open house is important. Obviously, we always talk about closings being a celebration. But we don't miss a closing. If somebody on our team is not able to go for, maybe they're sick, somebody else will step in to go. There should always be someone there through the whole step of the way. So just setting yourself apart.
I love it. I mean, those are the things when I asked, and like I said, I'll throw you a couple curveballs in this and like ask questions. I don't know where it's always going to go, but that's key, right? When we talk about, okay, our business is based off of local presence and building relationships. And a lot of people get stuck in not knowing how to do it. And, we heard it today for those that watch, like I'm a big fan of watching UWM Sales Rally or their call every week. And I think it was Anthony Frederick that was talking about how even for them, when they're calling on originators and talking about, hey, well, we've got this great thing, and they don't even do that. That's not, they're a high balance client in New York, like we talked about. So part of the execution that I'm hearing from you is, yeah, we all know we need to target agents, but we need to provide value. But you need to know what it is that, like, what is value to them, right? Value to one agent, if they're not a first time home buyer and they're dealing with high net worth clients, maybe that value is talking about asset depletion. Maybe it's talking about, bank statement, like creating opportunities for them that are, you're dropping nuggets to where you're the point of influence on, education, right? And that's what I see doing all the time. And I love it that we were able to pull that out and have it. So open houses, amazing. I know I had, Eric Katsikis on recently. He's been crushing it with that too. I had a lunch meeting yesterday with an agent of mine with Coldwell Banker, and he was telling me, listen, when people come into a house anymore, I have a sign that just says, ask me questions about the house, and there's a sign that has to ask about financing, right? Yeah. Because a lot of people want the information, but they don't always want to, like, I don't know how to say this, like they don't necessarily want to be solicited. Right. So what I see that you're doing is you're helping support that in the community with not only your agents, but with your customers, right? Or their clients, the people that are going to say, well, wait a minute, I don't have to wonder what this is. Everything's set in stone and ready to go. And to follow it up again, the closing, every piece of it, Align is there with them. They align with them. I freaking love that brand, by the way. I think it really aligns with you and how you're building what it is that the core values are within your company. So a lot of great nuggets to be able to make sure that, hey, we all need to solicit real estate agents, but take a little bit of time. 75 a week is a great number, But if you're just calling and you don't know what you're doing to hit that, KPI or your goal for executing, you can execute in a poor manner or you can execute in a way that's planned and methodical. And there's no question that your growth is happening because it's planned and methodical. You're doing the research, like you said, look on LinkedIn, know who it is, keep notes, right? Even if you don't have a fancy Salesforce system, get your Excel spreadsheet out.
Yeah.
Like for me, I'm a little bit old school, so still with that on like my market relationships where or my real estate relationships where I use an Excel spreadsheet. They get my market update videos. But I also have notes as well, which is key because I don't want to forget something. Like if they just had a baby and like take that extra step, be a partner, send them a kid's blanket,
Absolutely.
and I see a lot of this stuff that you're doing, which is why truthfully I wanted to have you on here because for me, we learn from our community, right? I think the whole
Mhm.
thing with AIM and Brokers Are Better is we're better together
Yep.
because of people like you that will say, hey, here's what I'm doing that's working, but it's up to you to execute, right?
Right. Yep.
So I like that. So, how can brokers, I think we covered this too, how can brokers focus their growth within their local community, right? I think you're hitting on that. Tell me some of the other things that you're doing. I know I've seen them, but I want you to explain it. What else are you doing to build in your own community?
Yeah, so actually this is something that I'm really passionate about is my community because there are, clients that I run into that I did a deal with 8 months ago and I do run into them at Target or, and so like I said, your brand speaks really highly of you and loudly, even when you aren't speaking. And so being involved, like if you have kids, like do branded water bottles. So those kids are
Yes.
taking them home every day and you're in the kitchen sink and then you're filled up in their backpack and be involved in the festivals. Something that we like to do is our city and a lot of surrounding cities have festivals throughout the spring and summertime. And so we like to buy a booth. And then when you're there, don't just be there to stand in the booth to just be like, I bought a booth to be here. Like, do it the best. Like, how do I do this and do it the best? Like, my main focus and something that I think is super like great way to execute is like, what is that focus? Like, we have a festival coming up and it's family focused. And so I bring balloons that say Align Lending. So the kids are walking around with these balloons the whole time
Yes.
with your brand on them. And it's just, we know that someone is more likely to use a brand based on recognition than someone they don't know. So being local to your community and just getting yourself out there, right? That's super important to, really
Love
focus on the people that are around you. So just getting involved.
thoughtful and intentional are the two words that come to mind when you're doing the things that you're doing, and that doesn't happen by accident, right? You need to be like aware of what it is that you're doing and align with what that is, right? Like the balloons, I mean, it's just awesome. So Samantha, we like to keep it short and sweet. I think if we gave any more information, there would be people opening Align branches all over the country. So
That's
we'll
okay.
keep,
I'm
yeah,
here.
I love it. But thank you so much. I appreciate you being a positive light in our industry, showing, even a support for women in our industry. Like you can do it, right? Like there are people that will reach out and help you. We have our women's mortgage networking group within Brokers Are Better. People like Samantha are willing to even, hey, if you have a question, shoot her a message quickly, like through Facebook Messenger or whatever the case is. Our community works to grow together and help each other. And you're an outstanding member for that. So, Samantha, thank you so much. Thank you for being here on Grow and Get It. Every week, we're here at noon Eastern Time in our Brokers Are Better Facebook group. You can catch all our previous episodes on our YouTube page at AIME National. And hope everyone has an amazing week and you go out and grow and get it. So, thank you so much, Samantha.
Thank you.